Welcome everyone. My name is Morgan Molnar, Director of Product Marketing at Momentive, the makers of SurveyMonkey and Get Feedback. And today we're going to be diving into this section of the product marketing mini degree on leading impactful product launches that disrupt your market and grow your business. So a little bit about myself. I'm Morgan. Hi. Welcome to this course. I live in Redwood City, California with my husband, Alex, and golden retriever puppy, Penny. She was a pandemic dog and we love her to pieces. I am a researcher turned marketer. So I have a master's degree in applied sociology, spent the earlier part of my career doing more marketing effectiveness analytics, and then moved over to SurveyMonkey, now Momentive, to do a whole host of things, but landed in product marketing and haven't turned back. I've been able to grow my career there, build a team, and I've been involved in a lot of product launches. So at Momentive, we took on the ambitious goal of launching 10 new 0 to 1, from scratch solutions in a single year. The same year, in fact, that we rebranded and repositioned our company from SurveyMonkey to Momentive. So a lot of experience in this area, and I can't wait to dive in with all of you. All right, so let's talk about product launches. Product launches are probably the most fun that I have as a product marketer because they are so involved, they take so much planning, so much cross-functional collaboration, and they can be really rewarding. In fact, product launches can make you a hero at your company. So, think about that feeling when you've brought a new product to market and people are going nuts for it. They love it, they're buying, they're upgrading. It is really, a really celebratory event and can make a great splash in the market and really help boost your career. But product launches can also turn you into a ball of stress. There's a lot that is involved in leading and driving a really successful product launch. And think about the worst case scenario. You launch your product to market and you can't drive pipeline. Customers aren't interested. You're not closing deals. Let's try to avoid that situation and help prepare you for success with this course on leading successful product launches. All right, so getting into the course objectives, here's what we're gonna learn together. After taking this course, you'll know how to set realistic launch goals that motivate your team and focus their efforts. We don't want to be too ambitious, but we don't want to, coast. We want to set something that's realistically aggressive, and we'll learn how to do that. We'll get you ready to develop a go-to-market strategy, including defining your audience, the messaging for the product launch, the pricing strategy, and a lot more to maximize your chances of in-market success. And then we will get you knowing how to enable your teams. I mentioned this is very cross-functional. We'll get you working cross-functionally with the right people on the right things to have high impact, and make sure that your sellers are ready to bring that product to market and champion your brand and product. And then we will get you ready to manage the execution of sales and marketing activities leading up to launch day and beyond, so that your launch goes off without a hitch. And really, if I think about it, great product marketers are great project managers. And so we'll give you the tips on how to be successful here. And then lastly, know how to track the right metrics and report on your launch progress to leadership with confidence so you can wow that executive team and knock their socks off. That's what we want you to do. So, all right. Practical things you're going to walk away with after taking this course. 1, stories from other successful and maybe not so successful product launches from my past experience. Strategies for motivating and involving your cross-functional teams in your launch. A guide to tiering your product launches. So knowing what are the appropriate marketing and sales activities for each tier of different types of products or features that you might be launching. Very practical, templatized go-to-market strategy and launch execution plan that you can take from this course and start immediately using with your teams at your company. And then finally, a guide to reporting your launch progress. All right, so the journey of this course. So we've broken everything that you just heard into 5 lessons. And so for each of these, we're gonna go real deep with practical examples and tips that you can take away to being successful in each of these areas. First lesson is all about the types of product launches. So this is gonna be a little bit of a grounding where you're gonna learn the difference between feature versus product launch, market versus customer launch, soft launch versus a general availability launch, and all the different types of launches that product marketing can be involved in. Second lesson, we'll dive into how to set the right launch goals. Again, balancing realism with ambition here, aligning your goals to the business strategy, and making sure that you get that right buy-in at the right time to set your team in the right course. Lesson 3 will be how to develop a go-to-market strategy. So this is a lot of the foundation building for a successful product launch. So leveraging marketing competitive intelligence, figuring out the key decisions on things like your target audience and ideal customer profile, the product naming, pricing strategy, and more. And granted, I know that there are a lot of other really great in-depth courses within this product marketing mini degree that'll help you go even deeper on a lot of these areas. Lesson 4 will be how to execute a successful launch. So this is getting into the nitty-gritty of what you're gonna do, when, who's it gonna be executing, and all of the project management best practices that go into setting up a successful launch. And then the last lesson, lesson 5, how to measure the success of your launch. So this is kind of tying it all together. You're out in the market. How are you tracking performance? What are the right metrics to look at? And how are you gonna gather those? And what's the cadence of reporting to your leadership team? All right, are you ready to dive in? Let's get started. Welcome to lesson 1 of our product launch course. This is going to be focusing on the types of product launches. Like I said, a nice grounding of definitions to get you started. So you'll hear about the difference between feature launches and product launches, market and customer launches, soft launches and general availability launches, and other kinds of launches that product marketing will be involved in. All right, let's talk about lesson objectives. So in this lesson, you will learn the difference between product launches and feature launches, market launches and customer launches, soft launches and general availability launches, and then a little bit on how to determine what kind of launch you need to execute based on what you are releasing to production. This will have a little bit of a software focus, a little bit more of a B2B focus, but I think it will be very applicable for all you B2C and physical product marketers out there. Okay, let's dive in first into the difference between a product launch and a feature launch. So, left-hand side, product launches. This is all about marketing a new standalone offering that can be purchased or downloaded or used on its own. Maybe it has its own pricing structure or its own conversion flow, but the idea is that this is its own contained thing that a customer could use. Example launch goals here would be a net new revenue stream for your company, acquiring new users or even expanding into a new market, new target buyers, and then expanding the usage of existing customer bases. So as they go to add on multiple products within your portfolio. Feature launches are a little bit different here. There is some nuance. So typically features are a new capability on top of or within an existing offering that can be used via an upgrade or an add-on, or maybe it just comes with the product. Could even be an enhancement of an existing capability. An example launch goal could be engaging or delighting existing users. Maybe this is something they've been asking for. Maybe shifting your package mix. So if you are more of a self-server e-commerce business where you've got tiers of potential subscription models, maybe this is shifting people more to a higher grade or a higher tiered subscription. And then acquiring new users. So again, maybe this is something that you were lacking previously that was a reason that people didn't sign up. Maybe now that with this existing, you'll be able to increase your conversion rates. And now let me show you an example marketecture and how this might look. What you're looking at is a collection of products and features. The big darker gray product boxes would be those standalone offerings that you have. You could have features within that, or you might even have add-on features on top of that. Maybe that requires a separate add-on purchase. And then underlying that, in a lot of cases, and you see this very frequently with software companies, is you might have a foundational platform that ties everything together. So you might have one unified login where you can access all these different products that contain these features. Or maybe it's just a way internally of building modular capabilities that multiple products actually leverage. Either way, you'll notice that there is that separation between products where they really can be used on their own, whereas features can be components within that product or, again, bundled on top of or added to that product. All right, so now I'm going to take you through an example marketecture that's great at really depicting where the differences between products and feature lie. So typically a company would have a couple different products that they offer. Let's say you have 3. Then maybe you have a couple different features within that product, come with that product, capabilities, functionality, that kind of thing. You might also have a couple add-ons outside of the product that you pay for separately. Maybe they're an upgrade or an additional cost. So you might have different products that have features that come with them or features that are add-ons. But ultimately what you see is like these products are different and they're standalone, and you can use this product without this product, and you don't need to bring them all together. And that's kind of what sets these apart. Some companies also have an underlying platform that tie everything together. Maybe it's a unified login or a way that your products can be used together. Also, you might think about that as an internal way of building a lot of modular capabilities that can be used by multiple products, like we do, for example, in a lot of our market research solutions. A lot of different solutions use the same kind of analysis capabilities, for example. So this is an example architecture that shows how features and products are a little bit different. Okay, now let's look at the difference between a market launch and a customer launch. For a market launch, they're marketed externally to prospective buyers. A customer launch marketed to primarily existing users of your product. Let's look at the different launch goals here. So a market launch, you might be looking to build awareness of your product. So going externally, driving awareness of your brand and your product. You might be wanting to acquire new users, or again, reach a different target audience. And there's always the added benefit of impressing investors and analysts. So maybe not necessarily direct buyers of your product or solution, but are going to be really important to make aware of these enhancements, as it might help direct shareholder value and things like that. In terms of a customer launch, the example goals could be getting to feature parity with your competition. So you might be playing a little bit of catch up. You might want to improve your existing experience, and then engaging your customer base. So continually looking like you're innovating and building and offering new things that they can take advantage of and add value to their experience. So again, we can take this to the light board and I can diagram out what this might look like. Okay, let's talk about who your message reaches in a customer launch versus a market launch. So for a customer launch, I'm gonna put your customers here. Really, you're doing activities that are gonna reach your customer base. It's gonna be things like blog posts and email newsletters, customer outreach, things like that. And you're really just targeting this small group. And as soon as you move to a market launch, your net of people that you're reaching really grows. So let's imagine that this is that total addressable market, folks who are actively or likely to buy in your category. What you've got is a much bigger group of people that are not just your customers, but people who are not your customers. And what you also have are these pockets of your competitors' customers as well. So you might have people that are using your competitor products that might be able to switch over to your product if your new launch is compelling enough. And then the last thing that I'd mention is don't forget about these little buckets out here, which are your investors and your analysts that are really watching your space. They're reporting recommendations to Wall Street, or they're making recommendations for those Gartner Magic Quadrants. Those are great people to reach as well with your broader market launches. So let's talk about who your messaging would really reach in terms of the difference between a customer launch and a product launch. So I'll start with the customer launch. So really this could be a slew of activities like blog posts or newsletters or things like that that are going out to your existing customer base. It's kind of just contained within the folks that you have access to through your databases. And then a market launch is going to add all of these additional targets to your launch. So first of all, there's that market at large, which would contain prospective customers, but also competitors' customers. So that's the cool thing about a broader market launch, is you're getting out there to people who might be in the market for purchasing a solution like yours, or even already be using your competitor's solution, but go, they have this now? Maybe I should check that out. And then of course, don't forget those other small bubbles of your investors and analysts that can be reporting out on your products or making recommendations to the investment community. All right, let's talk about the difference between soft launches and GA or general availability launches. So for a soft launch, and this is very typical in software, it's rolled out slowly to a portion of your customer base at a given time. So you could think of, it's a new feature that maybe let's just roll it out to 5 or 10% of our base at first, work out a bunch of the kinks and bugs and just see what adoption looks like. You can do that through an experimentation platform and then slowly ramp up to 100% of customers. And then once you get to that GA or general availability launch, that's when your product or your feature is available to your entire customer base. You can do this, you can work up to a GA launch, or you could go for a GA launch right out the gate. Usually for new products, there's really no one to experiment and soft roll it out to. So most product launches are GA launches by default. In terms of example goals here, so for soft launches, you might be surfacing product bugs or user feedback. You might be wanting to experiment with how quickly or how rapidly people are adopting the new feature or product, and then validating product market fit. So making sure that it's in the right package, that the price is right, that people are getting a good experience with the feature. Sometimes when you think about an MVP or a minimum viable product, you're kind of launching a bare bones version of your product. So making sure that that's enough so that people don't try it and they're like, well, this doesn't have what I need. And so making sure that you validate that product market fit before rolling it out to a larger group of people or announcing it to the market. And then for a GA launch, really, again, this is kind of synonymous with a bit of the market launch or product launches, but driving awareness of the new product or feature, acquiring new users, upgrading existing users. These could all be material goals of a GA launch. All right, so I'd be remiss if I didn't mention product tiers. And this is a really great framework to help you understand how to allocate resources and develop the list of activities that you're going to do to take a new product or feature to market. You've seen this kind of 3-tiered framework in a lot of places. There's a great article with a friend of mine, Mary Sheehan from Adobe. If you want to check that out later, we'll link it in the resources. And again, tiers can totally vary by company and the kinds of activities that work for your customers. Later in the course, I actually dive into this in greater detail in the how to execute a successful launch lesson. So we'll dive in a little bit later, but just to set you up with a foundational knowledge of product launch tiers. Tier 1 is going to be like, you want to shout it from the mountaintops, like we are launching this and we're going big and we're putting everything we have against it. Usually it's to launch a product that is strategically important to the business that we want everyone talking about. So some of the example content you might create would be, supporting a client event where maybe this is going to be a focal point of that event. Maybe you're creating full-on demo videos that you can either gate to drive leads or host on your site or use as ways to do outreach through your sales team. Press releases, so making sure you're getting that out and pushing that out into media. And then a dedicated webinar where maybe you're even doing demos or see what's new or even bringing in potentially a customer to help walk through the new solution. Tier 2 product launches are products or features that will impact a lot of customers, but maybe they're not warranting the full-blown Tier 1 approach. But you still, dedicate a good amount of time and resources to it. So example content could be blog posts, social media posts, having a dedicated web page on your site, sales collateral and enablement to make sure that everyone knows how to sell to this feature, to communicate the value. And then for Tier 3, this is like, products or features, most likely features, to be honest, that are most likely an upgrade or affect a small subset of customers. You want to announce it, and you definitely want to be targeted with who you go out to, but it probably doesn't require a whole host of content across every channel. You're likely not paying to launch this product. You're probably not using paid media or paid social or paid search. It's probably bundled into things that you're already doing. So example content could be still a blog post, help center content for users of your product, maybe a heads up in an internal sales meeting or at an all hands or something, but not really the full-blown effect. And again, later on in the course, we have a lesson on executing successful product launches where I will go into an example activity list for each of these tiers. All right, so I'll do an example here. So this is a feature launch example, SurveyMonkey sentiment analysis. It's a great capability that we have in terms of open text analysis and analyzing responses of open-ended survey responses. What we do is we have a machine learning model that will basically scrape all the responses and come up with a sentiment, so positive, negative, neutral. It's 96% effective, which is actually industry leading. And it's a really great feature that folks who are doing more robust research would certainly love to have. And I'll show you what we did here. So it was a tier 2 launch for us. We reserved it for our premier annual plans. So we've got individual plans, team plans, enterprise plans. We reserved it for our premier annual plans and up because it is an AI-powered capability. It's definitely for more robust research. It would certainly be a value add for folks who are doing serious research or collecting a lot of responses that they don't want to wade through. And so this was one of our very first AI feature launches, and we wanted to make sure that the experience was really great. So what we first did was a soft customer launch. We announced it to some of our customers. We released it for about 5 or 10% of the customer base at first, ramped that up to 25%, then 50%. And then as we worked out all the bugs and made sure the experience was great and worked on a variety of different survey types, we eventually rolled it out to everyone. And at that point, that's when we did our broader market launch. And it was tier 2. It wasn't like full shebang, but we did make a video about it. We made its own webpage, blog posts, newsletters. We had a press release. I think it was actually bundled in a couple of things that we announced. So really great launch for us. And one of the key things that we were tracking was how are we shifting that package mix up to Premier Plus? And what is the propensity to upgrade now that we've added this feature? What's that incrementality? So really great launch for us and a good example of a tier 2 launch that started as a customer launch and then moved its way to a market launch. Another great example would be our brand tracking solution at Momentive. This was a really fun launch to work on, and I'm going to use this as an example throughout the entire course. So this solution was a tier 1 product launch at Momentive. So tier 1 market launch, full GA right from the start. And the cool thing about this product is it was 0 to 1. So this did not exist at SurveyMonkey. We built it from scratch, like the full experience. And it was actually about a 9-month build, which was wild. Very fast for us to go from 0 to 1 on a new solution in just 9 months. But it's great. It's really what it is for brands who are looking to track their brand health. It's a great, fully automated longitudinal analysis platform so you can track key metrics of your brand and your competitors' brands over time. And we've incorporated a lot of AI into this product to surface key trends as well as the underlying demographics and segments of your data that are driving those trends. Anyone who works on brand tracking research knows the crazy tediousness that it is to crunch those numbers, to do a ton of custom filtering, to understand and uncover those aha moments between what's happening with your brand health. And so for us, this was certainly a tier 1 launch because it was a new end-to-end product. It added significant value for our customers who were doing this manually in the past, and expanded the personas we were able to target. So with the horizontal SurveyMonkey platform, we were kind of broad with our targeting. This let us hone in on brand managers and insights professionals who are doing this kind of research or benefiting from this kind of research. So it allowed us to get really, really specific from a sales standpoint. And of course, the innovation was huge for us in terms of the user experience, the automation, the AI that we injected into it. It was really going to be something that set us apart and further cemented our commitment to innovation in the market research space. So for us, we wanted the market to know about it. We wanted our investors to know about it. We wanted analysts to know about it. And certainly we're going to be doing a lot of trying to steal share from competitors. So we wanted our competitors' customers to know about it. And then internally, the benefits to us, of course, it's a net new revenue stream. It is our first foray into more of a subscription market research service. The business historically had been pretty transactional. And so from a business and strategy standpoint, this was a huge win for us to bring this product to market. So just to wrap up all those things I talked about, this example, it was a clear tier 1 launch, and we threw everything at it, and you'll hear more about this launch as we get deeper into the course. All right, so we weren't just going to learn about those 3. There are so many more types of launches that you may be involved in. So beyond product versus feature, customer versus market, and soft launch versus GA, I'm going to talk about a couple other launches that I've had some experience with that you might, as a product marketer, get involved in. So the first one is a company launch. Sounds like, okay, yes, product feature, okay, company launch, that's huge. But if you think about introducing, of course, a new standalone company, startups are doing this on the reg. They're coming out of stealth mode. They're launching their company, and that, of course, is trying to make a big splash. Company rebrands are also very intensive. They involve product marketing. I was deeply involved in our SurveyMonkey rebrand and repositioning to Momentive. And this really, for product marketing, the key piece that I played was making sure that the positioning of Momentive as a company matched what we were trying to accomplish from a business strategy standpoint. So we were moving up market. We had all of these solutions and products that a lot of people didn't know about because, yes, we had SurveyMonkey, but we had so many things in addition to SurveyMonkey, and SurveyMonkey was also our company name. So how do we create something that's going to help us evolve that positioning and expand how we talk about ourselves? So product marketing was heavily involved there, especially as you get down to how we position solutions and products within that new company structure. We were critical pieces there. And then mergers or acquisitions. Typically these are pretty hush-hush, but when you're introducing a newly acquired product or a brand, product marketing gets involved, maybe not necessarily for the announcement of the merger or acquisition, but as soon as you're trying to tie those products together and merge them under one experience or one brand. We just went through this actually at Momentive. We acquired Usabilla based in Amsterdam and Get Feedback based in San Francisco, and both of those products are great customer experience management solutions. Yet, we couldn't have so many brands within our portfolio, and it made sense given that they targeted very similar buyers and complemented each other from a feature and functionality standpoint, that we would merge those together. Another example would be we acquired a company called Tech Validate. That was several years ago. They're more about collecting information from your customers for case studies and testimonials and customer advocacy. And in that case, we actually brought the Tech Validate brand, kept the product name, but brought it under the SurveyMonkey family. And so product marketing was involved in that as well. Another example of a launch we could be involved in would be a package launch. So pricing and packaging is certainly at self-service or e-commerce companies really thought through and optimized. That's no different at Momentive. For our SurveyMonkey plans, like I kind of mentioned before, we have a whole team that focuses on growth and pricing and packaging of those. And so anytime you want to introduce a new tier or a new bundle of your offering, product marketing needs to be involved. And a great example of that was when we launched SurveyMonkey team plans. We realized that so many people from the same company were involved in using SurveyMonkey for a variety of different use cases, that it made sense for us to come up with a bundle for teams who are looking to collaborate more. And so in this case, we were involved in a launch of a new package. And then the last one would be maybe a different kind of initiative, company-wide, maybe some sort of program that your company is taking on. A great example of that would be SurveyMonkey for Good, which is our community and social outreach programs that we take on at SurveyMonkey. We did a press release when we announced it. We are continuing to create programs under this kind of sub-brand here. It's now that we've rebranded the company, Momentive Together is the program that, and kind of namesake for this. And so product marketing will get involved in terms of how does this ladder up to the positioning of the company, and how does this even connect to some of our go-to-market brands. So a lot of really fun things that product marketing we get to have our hands in. So we won't go deep into any of these kinds of launches in the course. We're going to stick to features and products for sake of simplicity. But do know that there's a lot of ways that you can use what you're going to learn in this course for other kinds of launches. So the skills are really applicable. All right, so last bit here of this lesson is determining the type of launch that you need to execute. So we've gone through all those definitions. Now, how do you take what you're handed from product or what you've been involved in building and figure out, what's the scale of the launch that you need to execute? So ask yourself the following: what are we building? So this could be a new standalone offering or a new capability. And again, that'll help you determine whether this is going to be a product launch or a feature launch. The second, who's going to care about it? So we mentioned before market and customer launches. If your existing customers are asking for it, if they're like, hey, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? When are you going to offer this? Then you definitely want to involve customer communication in your launch. But if the feature is something that you're playing catch up with, or people may have expected your product to do that anyway, and it's not something that's really exciting or innovative, you probably want to stick to having that just be a customer launch. But anytime you want prospects or non-customers or investors and analysts to get excited about what you've built, you definitely want to do a full-blown market launch. Now there, again, could be different tiers within that, but you definitely want to be shouting from the mountaintops about this new capability. And then the last question, so is the product completed? So it kind of feels like a no-brainer kind of question, but hear me out. So you may, and we talked about minimum viable products a little bit earlier, but you may not have every single feature completely rolled out. And that's okay, right? Like you might have a vision for what this product is going to be and you're not quite there yet. So if it's fully done, yes, go ahead, launch, general availability launch. But if it's not, consider a soft launch. Consider rolling it out to a subset of your users. And then, but it's not a fully black or white kind of decision here. For example, with that brand tracking solution that I mentioned earlier, there were still some of the components of the AI that we were still building into the product, but those were kind of like delight and like nice to have features. They weren't the bulk of the longitudinal analysis and the filtering and all the things that we knew we needed to have. So we launched it, we were communicating about all the things it's gonna have. And a couple months later, we did roll out all those features, but it allowed us to get to market quicker by launching a little bit sooner. So this will hopefully be a good guide in terms of helping you determine what kind of launch that you need to have. Okay. Lesson recap, you've made it through your first lesson of our product launch course, and here's what you've learned. So the difference between product and feature launches, market and customer launches, soft launches and GA launches, and of course, how to determine what kind of launch you need to execute. Next, we're heading on to lesson 2, which is going to be all about goal setting.